Gymnasium. Lane Tech boys basketball is on the air. The Lane Tech champions look to make it 2 conference wins in a row. But in their way, the Farragut Admirals here in some Wednesday night Red Northwest Conference action from Lane Gymnasium. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Alex Burstein above midcourt here at Lane Tech. The Lane Tech champions would love to see a win out of their boys basketball team here tonight. Would be conference win number 2 on the season. Would keep them above 500 on the year. But in their way, a pesky Farragut Admirals team here who have already matched their win total from last season, just about 2 or 3 weeks into this 2022-2023 campaign. We should have a fun one on our hands tonight between Lane Tech and Farragut. These two teams, Lane Tech won last year. Farragut won the 2 previous meetings. They're pretty evenly matched the last couple of years, and we will see who can exit tonight with the conference victory as we take you down to the court. Just under 2.5 minutes to go until we are set for first tip here at Lane Tech. Lane coming off of a 60-51 loss on Saturday to 25th ranked Lamont. Well, actually now they're 23rd ranked. At the time they were 25th ranked. It was Lane's toughest opponent yet of the season, but Lane held their own. They even made a run at it in the 4th quarter, ended up falling short, but it was a good performance from the champions on Saturday, and we will see if they can take that into tonight's matchup. Farragut as well, they took on St. Lawrence on Saturday. They fell in a somewhat rough matchup for the Admirals. Both these teams were competing at the Team Rose Shootout, so they had some competitive experience this weekend, and we will see what they can do here tonight as we get ready to run through our starting lineups now. First, for the visiting Farragut Admirals, a lot of these names are familiar if you followed this Lane Tech team last year. This is a Farragut team that returned a lot of talent. They also have some new guys in the starting lineup. This is what they will roll with tonight. The star for this team, number 2, Jonathan Calmise. He is a junior point guard / shooting guard, one of the better guards in the Chicagoland area. He gets a start tonight for the Admirals. Alongside him in the guard / forward position will be the senior, number 3, Eric Powell, a 3rd-year varsity guy. Powell's been solid for this team, averaging a smidge under 10 points a game this year. For the Admirals, Justin Pickens, a senior forward, gets to start, coming in at 6'4", brings a little bit of height to this team. The other big height for this squad, number 11, Jalen James, a 6'7" junior. He's the tallest player listed on either one of these rosters. He gets a starting nod here tonight. And finally, the star freshman has been getting a lot of attention these last couple of weekends. Number 12, Latrell Kelly, just a freshman. He's started since night 1, had 19 points in his high school debut. It's been a very impressive start for Kelly, and we will see what he can do here tonight as we are going to have our national anthem. So we'll turn to the PA address announcer system and be back in just a second for starting lineups and tip-off here from Lane Gymnasium. There you have it, another excellent national anthem from the Lane Tech Pep Band. And with that, it is just about time for hoops here from Lane Gymnasium. As we mentioned, the Farragut starting lineups tonight will be Jonathan Calmise, Eric Powell, Justin Pickens, Jalen James, and Latrell Kelly. Head coach tonight for the Farragut Admirals is the interim head coach, Emmanuel Little. William Nelson not coaching tonight with the Admirals. As for Lane Tech, they are rolling with their usual starting 5 tonight. It's been working as of recent for them, so that is who they will go with tonight, led by the star of this squad, number 5, Shahid Salibo. The junior gets the starting nod tonight, coming off a 16-point performance against 23rd ranked Lamont. Number 10, Jack Soar, the senior 6'3 guard, gets the start tonight for the champions, alongside the point guard for this squad, number 11, Lorenzo Aquino, the senior point guard. Number 23, Parker Williams. He scored 9 on Saturday, but his real impressive performance came on Friday, the last conference game for this Lane Tech squad. He had 18 points in a win over Perspectives MSA, so a very good win for the champions and a very good performance for Parker Williams. And finally, the newest attraction for this Lane Tech squad, Dalton Scantlebury. He's been all over Twitter, all over the news headlines recently. Scantlebury's been very impressive as of recent for Lane Tech, and he will look to continue that here tonight. 5 straight games of 15 points or more for the big man for Lane Tech. He will look to continue that streak tonight against Farragut, as both the teams ready for the tip-off here. Looks like the man in the middle tonight for the Admirals is going to be number 5, Justin Pickens. Interesting move by Farragut. They put 6'4 Pickens in the circle instead of 6'7 Jalen James. And that's not just an error on our roster. You can see on the screen right now, Jalen James is a lot taller than Pickens is. But it will be the 6'4 Pickens in the circle against the 6'6 Dalton Scantlebury to get things going here tonight from Lane Gymnasium. 8 minutes on the clock, 32 to play here from Lane Tech as we get ready for the whistle, and we're underway. Farragut wins the toss, and somehow Scantlebury comes up with the basketball. So a lucky break here from Lane Tech on the first possession. Lane has been up and down this season in the first half. They had a really good first half against Perspectives, not so much against Lamont. They had some struggles earlier in the season with scoring in the first quarter as Williams gets fouled on his first drive to the basket. We might be able to tell which type of Lane Tech team is going to come out tonight just off of these first few possessions. If they're scoring early on, that's going to be a good sign for the champions. If not, it very well could be a good night for Farragut, as Parker Williams is going to head to the line, trying to score the early first point of the night. And he will get it with ease. So Williams gives Lane Tech the early 1-0 lead here from Lane Tech. Lane enters tonight's game with a 5-4 record, so they're hoping to stay above 500 on the year as Williams sinks the second of 2 to give Lane Tech the early 1-possession lead here. Latrell Kelly, the freshman guard for this Admirals team, will be the first player to touch the ball tonight for Farragut. A long in-your-face 3 drained by Jonathan Calmise. We mentioned him in our pregame. He's a very impressive player for this Admirals squad, and the junior hits his first shot of the night. That one looked way too easy for Farragut as Salibo loses the basketball but goes right into the hands of Williams. Now Williams fakes the 3, thought about pulling for it, instead is going to go across the court to Aquino. Williams, as of recent, has been most dangerous from 2-point field goals as they give it out to him for 3. Just as we say that, takes a 3-point shot, can't connect, but an offensive rebound for Jack Soar, and a third chance now for the champions. Aquino from the corner hits it for 3 to put Lane Tech back in the lead. An excellent job by the champions there, not giving up on the possession despite a few missed shots and almost turnovers there, and they will take back the 2-point lead here with 6.5 to play in the first quarter of action. Kelly being guarded by Aquino, a point guard on point guard matchup. They'll swing it to Pickens at the top of the key, and now to Calmise here, who's working from the left side instead of the right. Calmise, coming off a 9-point performance against St. Lawrence, was the second leading scorer for his team as Pickens down low gets the easy 2 to go. There's 2 Pickens on this squad, Justin and Jamari. Jamari a junior, Justin a senior, but Justin is the one who gets more minutes of the 2 as Salibo almost gets the easy floater. Scantlebury there for the putback and gets Lane Tech back up by 2. Apologies, folks. We gave the wrong points there, but it will go back even now. So 7-5 your score with 5:40 to go in quarter number 1 of action. Calmise takes to the basket for the first time tonight. An excellent pass down low to Pickens, playing the big man role. gets the 2 to go, and looks like Lane Tech is going to have to put some extra focus on Justin Pickens. He has some early points here, and seems to be getting past the Lane Tech defense with ease. Lane Tech's going to slow down the pace of the game here a little bit as we approach 5:20 to go in the first quarter. Scantlebury working inside, gives it out to Aquino. He's hit 1-3, can't hit a second one here though, as Pickens will hold down the rebounds. 6'4" frame, looking very athletic here early on. As Kelly gets stuck up, decides to pick up his dribble here. Scantlebury a little bit of a mismatch, and Kelly hits a 3 in his face. Kelly had the more speed there, instead decided to just pull up for the shot and makes it nothing but net to put his team back in the lead. Salibo loses the basketball. A couple of uncharacteristic early turnovers for Shahid Salibo, and driving in, and they're going to count the basket, it looks like. For a second there, it looked like it was going to be a big block taken by, I believe, Jack Soar, but instead they will count the basket, and Jonathan Calmes will head to the line looking to finish the 3-point play. So it'll be 12-7 the score for the Admirals after this one. Foul was called on Lane Tech's number 11, Lorenzo Aquino. So Aquino takes the blocking call there, and we'll see if Calmes can complete the 3-point play. Plays on a very competitive Mac Irvin Fire AAU team. Calmes does have a game-winning 3 that got a lot of attention this offseason from recruiters and scouts of those tournaments. And now he brings that experience back to this Farragut squad. As we mentioned last year, Farragut just 3 wins all season as Scantlebury misses a 3. 7 games into this year, they have already matched that mark. 3-4 record now for the Admirals. Just over 4 minutes to play, quarter number 1. Farragut clinging to a 6-point victory. They're looking to get back to 500 on the year. They can do that with a win here tonight. Obviously a rough matchup against St. Lawrence on Saturday, but this would be a big win to get them back towards near the top of the Red Northwest as Williams gets a turnover here. Not sure, that came weirdly off the hands of Calmes, but Lane Tech will gladly take advantage as Lorenzo Aquino gives it to Scantlebury. They have Scantlebury playing more towards the top of the key here tonight. He has been known to occasionally take a shot or 2 from the outside, but now they'll work him down low. Aquino was looking for Jack Soar, instead went off the backboard into the hands of Scantlebury, and not the traditional way Dalton Scantlebury gets points, but Lane Tech will take what they can get here. And they pull within 4 here as Jackson Labcon gets ready to be the first substitute into the game. Calmes off balance 3, misses. Williams grabs the defensive rebound here, and Farragut quickly backs off. We've not really seen a whole full court defense out of either of these squads early on. Williams thinks about driving left-hand side. He will do that. Spin move down low, and they give it out to Scantlebury. Aquino was open there. Instead, they're going to decide to reset the offense. Jack Soar, nothing but net for 3, and turns out that was the good choice as the lead now down to 1 for the Admirals with 2:50 to go in quarter number 1. A fast-paced, high-scoring start to this one from Lane Gymnasium. 13-12, Farragut with the early lead over Lane Tech as a big block there from Dalton Scantlebury. His first of the game. I don't have the official stats on him, but I'm pretty sure he's averaging over 1 block a game. He's been very impressive this season in the paint, defensively and offensively, as Williams can't hit the shot, but another offensive rebound here from Lane Tech. Williams down low, hits the 2, and puts Lane Tech back in the lead. Not sure if our crowd mic here picked that up, but as Salibo threw off that pass, there was some slap to someone's skin. There was a loud noise there, but the pass goes off cleanly and gives Lane Tech the victory. So Lebo trying to go coast to coast. Pickens says no with a big block there. Lane Tech will keep possession though. They've had almost 2 tries at a score basically every possession as Scantlebury gets called for the travel down low, and Labcon will check into the game for Jack Soar. For the Admirals, we will see Daniel Murillo as well as number 4, Jamari Pickens. The other Pickens come into the game here for the champions. 1:54 to go in quarter number 1, so less than 2 minutes to play here in the first frame. Lane Tech clinging to a 1-point victory, a 1-point lead over Farragut. Been a close matchup here early on, kind of what you would have expected. And I think a timeout going to be called here by Farragut, as they did not see an opening to the basket they wanted. Interim head coach Emmanuel Little will call time, and both the teams will take a quick talk with their coaches here. 14-13, Lane Tech leading Farragut here in the first quarter. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Tech. That was a very short timeout. Farragut called the timeout, but they were off their bench in about probably less than 30 seconds. I imagine it was a 30-second timeout called, but they will break that very quickly and head back to the court here. Did not mention this in the pregame. I assume you guys have been able to pick up on this, but it is Farragut in the blue jerseys going from right to left. Lane Tech in the white jerseys going from left to right, as Kenny Rosario is going to check into the game here. Three ball on its way from Kelly. He missed that. Made his first three ball of the night, but has not hit on one since. Williams pushing it in transition, trying to get to the basket. He gets stuck up, but gives it to Salibo. Excellent ball movement here from Lane Tech. They find Labcon. He misses the three, and Farragut will get the ball back in transition. Rosario has not been a super big part of this squad through the first 9 games, but we did see him play some excellent defense as Pickens hits the two. Some excellent defense in the fourth quarter against Lamont. Has earned himself, it looks like, some more minutes here as the junior comes into the game here early in the game, late in the first quarter. As we reach under a minute to go, 15-14, Farragut with the lead. Scantlebury works into two. That one's like an awkward bounce off the rim, but finds its way in. And we're just a back and forth affair here. It's been interesting. Calmese has not been touching the ball for about 15-20 feet, letting it roll out of inbounds to try to keep the clock from starting here. We'll see if Lane Tech starts to press because of that, as Kelly pulls up from 10 feet, misses it, almost a putback dunk, and Pickens got a little too confident with that one. It goes off of the rim, and Lane Tech will get possession back with 20 seconds. Shahid Salibo holding for one final shot here. Salibo, Scantlebury, Rosario, Labcon, and Williams on the court. All guys who can hit shots if needed. Salibo throws this off the legs of a couple of Farragut defenders, and the champions will inbound it with 5.7 seconds left. Lane decides not to call timeout here. They will let the play just work out naturally, as Labcon gives it to Scantlebury. The big man drives with 5 seconds, puts up the 2 air ball. Rosario saves it, and that will bring us to the end of one quarter of play. Farragut get out to an early 6-point lead. The champions storm back. They have a 1-point lead as we head to the second quarter. 16-15, champions lead. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech boys basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Number 2, we head here at Lane Gymnasium, a 16-15 lead for Lane Tech over Farragut. It will be Admiral's ball out of the quarter timeout, so they'll be starting off with possession, trying to cut into this 1-point lead and take back the lead here at Lane Gymnasium. They were really hot out of the gate. They took a 13-7 lead, but Lane Tech went on an 9-2 run to end off that first quarter to take back the lead and take the lead into the second quarter. It's been some nice shooting, a couple of turnovers from both these teams early on. The difference early on has been Lane Tech with their second chance shots, and that has not so much been the case for Farragut. As we see that, the Admirals will get a second shot at it as Calmise gives it out to Kelly to reset the offense here 30 seconds into quarter number 1. They push it down low to Eric Powell. He's been quiet early on, but an excellent spin move off the big man for Lane Tech. Dalton Scantlebury puts Farragut back in the lead, and this is how it's kind of been these last couple of minutes. Very back and forth play between these two squads as Scantlebury finds an open Williams for 3 and gets the lucky bounce. That one was off the backboard, rattled around the rim, did about everything it could before dropping in to give Lane Tech back the lead 19-17 here in quarter number 2. Just over a minute under here in quarter number 2. Got started about half an hour late here from Lane Tech because of the busing problems. I heard Farragut ended up having to carpool. It's pretty far distance as Salibo gets blocked. Second time tonight going for the Euro step. Calmise in transition, trying to put it ahead to Pickens. However, it will fly out of bounds as Braden Rosenkrantz checks into the game for Parker Williams. Farragut is probably one of the further destinations in the Red Northwest for Lane Tech. Team had to play there both in 2019 and 2021. This is actually the third straight, actually the first time in, I think, 4 years that they are playing a game at Lane Gymnasium, because the 2020 edition, Lane Tech was supposed to start the year against Farragut. That game ended up getting canceled, and if my memory serves me correct, it never got rescheduled. So they have not played each other at this court for a long time. Lane Tech was able to take the win on the road last year. However, it was 2 straight wins before then for Farragut. They've been pretty close. The largest of those was a 11-point loss for Lane Tech, but all the games have been fairly close as Rosenkrantz pulls down the rebound just a couple of seconds after entering the game, and they will give it to Salibo to bring it up the court. He has an aggressive Kelly defending him early on as Scantlebury hits the and 1 in the paint. Was falling as he put that shot up, converts on the 2. Per usual, very consistent scoring from Dalton Scantlebury. We mentioned this earlier, but it is a stat worth mentioning more than once. 5 straight games of 15-plus points for Dalton Scantlebury. Those are games against Bowles College Prep, Taft, Prosser, Perspectives, and Lamont as he converts the 3-point play. And Lane Tech now with their biggest lead of the night at 5, 22-17, with 6 minutes and change going in the first half. Lane's picked up some aggressive defense these last couple of minutes to mixed results. They just have to make sure they don't let anyone get open down low. They do that there. However, the offensive rebound leads to the almost dunk. I guess you can count that as a dunk from Jamari Pickens. Pickens has not been a super big scorer for this team, averaging just 4.4 points per game. However, he hits the shot there as Labcon with the floater can't hit it, and Scantlebury grabs the rebound. Looks like an offensive foul call there against, looks like they were saying 45. I think they meant 35 there. So Scantlebury will get called for his first foul of the night, and Farragut will get possession back, needing just a 3 to tie things back up here at Lane Gymnasium. I was talking with some friends earlier. They were asking about predictions for this game. I really said this is pretty up in the air. Both these teams have some good losses. They have some good wins. They have some bad losses. They've been fairly evenly matched in their scores here early on, and that's what it's proven to be here as Eric Powell hits the tough shot. His legs were kind of all dangling after he hit that shot. Did not have a great base for his shot. However, ends up sinking it and pulling his Admirals team within 1 here. 5:10 to go in quarter number 1. Dylan Pepper will check into the game soon as Shahid Salibo fires up a 3 off the mark. Powell, who's suddenly having a pretty big impact on this game, pulls down the rebounds. That will get Kelly to work. A high pass to Calmise brought down, and they will call a travel there on the junior. Lane Tech's done a good job of shutting down Calmise these last couple of minutes as Pepper checks into the game for Scantlebury. You don't see Scantlebury a lot on the bench. He's been playing a lot of minutes every single game. When he does come in for a short breather, usually it has been Dylan Pepper coming in as that backup 5. As Lane Tech now left with just 1 starter on the court right now. Rosenkrantz with the pass down low, fumbled by Pepper. Here comes Farragut in transition. They don't have numbers. Calmise will get tied up heading towards the basket. Jackson Labcon ties him up for a jump ball, and Parker Williams and Jack Soar will check into the game for Shahid Salibo and Braden Rosenkrantz. It's been a quiet night so far for Solibo. The other players have kind of picked up the pace, but see if he can get his offensive firepower back up and running when he comes into the game next. Rosario breaks the press to Williams, who had a wide open three. Can't get to go. Pepper unable to pull down the rebound, but even if he didn't make that shot there, good sign that they were able to pull out with an open shot there, as Farragut looks like they may be moving to a full court press here about halfway through quarter number 2 of action. They get to Kelly in the corner. He pulls for three, misses a shot. Williams pulls down the rebound. Nice job here by Williams. He's been doing a lot on both sides of the court. Rosario still scoreless, had just 1 point against Lamont. Very big defender. We'll see if he can put some scoring on the board here. Misses the three. And those second chances that we were saying were so important to Lane Tech in the first quarter have kind of slowed down here. They still have the 1 point lead that they had at the end of one quarter. They have not fallen behind in this second quarter, but we'll see if they can expand this lead at all. They did have the lead as much as 5 here. And right now you're just seeing Calmise kind of dribble, take some time off the court. No shot clock here in IHSA basketball, so Farragut can just hold for as much as they want. And I think Lane Tech right now, the strategy is to just let them do that. Lane does have the lead, albeit just 1 point right now. Head coach Nicholas Legallo for Lane has been one of the main proponents of adding the shot clock here in Illinois. I wrote a story for the school paper, I think 2 years ago. He's been at this for a long time about Legallo's efforts to do this. They finally have passed some stuff. It looks like in the next couple of years it will be a statewide thing. Right now it is just at select invitationals and tournaments, as we finally see Kelly make a move to the basket, misses the shot. And 45 plus seconds later, Farragut unable to come out of the possession with a shot. As we were saying, Lane Tech has played once this year already with a shot clock. They did it at the Chicago Elite Classic. I don't believe any more events that they are playing in are set to play in one. They do have an event coming up on Saturday, so we'll see if there's a shot clock there, as Williams loses it. Wide open for Eric Powell, who does the finger lay-in, didn't even need the backboard there, and puts Farragut back in on top 23-22 with just over 2 minutes to play in the first half. Jack Soar loses it down low, and they're going to put Powell in transition again. Gets around Williams. A foul's going to be called. Legallo was calling for a travel. Looked like a travel to me as well. However, they say the foul was called before that third step, and that is going to be a shooting foul called, actually. So Farragut will get a chance for some free shots here. And he's going to send 3 subs into the game soon in the form of Dalton Scantlebury and Shahid Salibo returning to the court, and then Trevor Goodhart making his debut here today. He did not play against Lamont, so this is his first time coming in for a couple of days, as first shot is hit here to move the lead up to 2 for the Admirals. Rosario, Pepper, and Jack Soar will take a seat on the bench. We also saw Pickens as well as Daniel Murillo come into the game. Murillo's been off and on a couple of times here. Second shot good from Powell as well. Extends the Farragut lead to 3. That's the largest it's been in a while. But a really good 5 on the court right now for Lane Tech, as Labcon gets in the corner. Goodhart, who's a very good three-point shooter, misses it there. Hasn't taken a lot of shots in game this season, and a little bit cold on his first shot of the evening, but we'll see if he can redeem himself later in this half. Farragut continuing with this slow-paced game. They get it down low to the easy 2 to Justin Pickens. And just like that is a 5-point lead for Farragut with under 90 seconds to play in quarter number 2. Williams thought about the pass, instead saw an open Scantlebury. Goodhart drives the lane, an excellent dish to Dalton Scantlebury. And if you give him a shot like that, he is not going to miss. Makes the Admirals pay with 70 seconds to go in quarter number 2. Calmese slows down the pace. Would not be surprised to see Farragut hold for one final shot with the way they have been playing. He started dribbling towards the midcourt line there, and a miscommunication between him and Murillo sends the basketball out of bounds, and the champions will get it back with 58.2 seconds on the clock. Coming up at halftime, we'll have performances from the Lane Tech cheer and dance team, as well as a full recap of this first half of play and a look around the conference here tonight. As Jackson Labcon cuts up the middle, finds his way to the basket. They're going to say it was tipped off the hands of Justin Pickens there. Lucky break there for Lane Tech. I think Labcon wanted the foul. He won't get it, and a 30-second timeout is going to be called by head coach Nicholas Legalvo. 41.7 seconds left on the clock here in quarter number 2. Couple of inactives here tonight for the champions, who we do not usually see. Caden Buford out for the first time tonight on the bench. He's not dressing for tonight's game. Eris Mulosmani has been on the IR all season, but Drew Bartoli also not dressed. Has not been a super big scorer for the champions, but he's gotten some good playing time, and he's been a big force, just getting some speed to the basket for the champions, and a very aggressive defender. So Bartoli not suited up for tonight's game. Those are the 3 players out tonight for the champions. Lane Tech's done a different job than usual, subbing guys in and out. We saw Rosario get some early minutes. Goodhart coming in earlier than usual here tonight, kind of changing the pace of this game. We also saw Rosenkrantz and Pepper, so I think that marks 9 players we've already seen tonight. Actually 10 if you count Labcon too, so 10 players have already hit the court tonight for the champions. For contrast, there's only 10 players dressed for Farragut, as a quick pass to Goodhart results in the 2. Took a lucky bounce there. Trevor Goodhart gets on the scoreboard, and it's a 1-point game with 30 seconds to go in quarter number 2. Lazy pass there by Calmese, almost picked off by Salibo, but Farragut will luckily keep possession here with 20 seconds. They get it down low to Pickens, and they're just going to try to swing it around the perimeter here. Salibo limits one of the passes, but they get it in the middle to Kelly like they intended. After a quick pass from Calmese, 10 seconds left on the clock, they start to work. Kelly driving from the free throw line, pulls up for 2, misses it. Labcon trying to pull down the rebound, and a foul is going to be called. Looked like Labcon had all ball on that one, but the referee saw a little bit of contact, and with 2.1 seconds left on the clock, Eric Powell, who went 2 for 2 on his first trip to the line here tonight, is going to head to the line. Entering tonight, Powell, a 71% free throw shooter. All the numbers across this Farragut team pretty solid from the free throw line. I got the stats about 30, 45 minutes before tip-off here and was just going through them, and some impressive free throw numbers. As Powell misses 2. A little bit of an announcer's jinx there. Salido unable to get a shot off, and that will bring us to the end of one half of play. So a 1-point lead for the champions at the end of 1, a 1-point lead for the Admirals at the end of 2. It is a close matchup here early on. We saw the offensive slow down a little bit, the defensive step up a little bit there in the second quarter, and with that it will be a 27-26 halftime lead for Farragut. We're going to turn it to the court, where we will see a couple of performances from Lane Tech's different dance and cheer teams, and then we'll be back in a couple of minutes to recap the first half of play and get you ready for the second 16 minutes here from Lane Gymnasium. Your halftime score from Lane Tech: Farragut Admirals 27, Lane Tech Champions 26. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Boys Basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. halftime here from Lane Gymnasium, 27-26. Farragut with a 1-point lead over the Lane Tech champions here in some conference action as we welcome you inside our little booth here above midcourt at Lane Tech. It was a fun first 16 minutes. Thanks to the PA announcer here, Tony McHale. He was keeping track of the runs here, and it really tells the story here of the first half. I wrote these down. 6-0 Farragut run, 7-0 Lane Tech run, another 8-0 Lane Tech run, and a 10-0 Farragut run. Those all happened in the first 16 minutes, so this has really been a game of runs here early on. Farragut ended that first half strong. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that 10-0 run may have been to end the half as the champions fall behind 26-27 entering this second 16 minutes, but it's anyone's game. Both these teams have played very strong early on, and we'll see who can take the upper hand into the second half and who can pull away with the conference victory here tonight as we take you down to the court. 4 minutes to play in the halftime break here at Lane Gymnasium. We'll take you through the scores for both this team. It's been a diverse scoring effort, I guess you could call it, early on for Lane Tech. 2 from Trevor Goodhart, 3 from Jack Soar, 3 from Lorenzo Aquino, 7 from Parker Williams, and then the big scorer here for the champions, 11 from Dalton Scantlebury, who hits double digits once again in the first half of play. That's been a common theme for him. He had 18 points against Lamont. He's just been rolling here early on, and he's just been hitting all those down low shots. Also a free throw made, so 5 field goals plus 1 for 2 from the line for the big man for the champions. As for Farragut, 6 points from Jonathan Calmise, 8 points from Eric Cowell, 2 from Jamari Pickens, 8 from Justin Pickens, and 3 from Latrell Kelly. So you can see it's been Calmise, Powell, and Justin Pickens, kind of the big 3 here for Farragut early on. They've all been playing impressive here for the Admirals, and if they keep it up, this is going to be a fun 16 minutes seeing how those 3 battle against Scantlebury, and we've seen Salibo has some very impressive second half performances, so we'll see if Salibo kind of wakes up offensively here in the second 16 minutes. A rare half played from him with no points scored. We'll see how he does here in the second 16 minutes. A busy night of conference action here across the Red Northwest as we'll take you around the conference here. 5 games on tap. Obviously, this one being played between Lane Tech and Farragut. The other 4 tonight, Clark at North Lawndale. That's a 7 p.m. tip-off, so that one getting underway about 45 minutes from now. The rest of the game set for 5 p.m. first tip, so those ones should be wrapping up if they started on time. This one started a little late, so it'll be going a little past the usual 90 minutes from 5 p.m. of 6:30 p.m. But Lincoln Park playing at Young. That one should be easy for Young, but Lincoln Park's had a couple of good games here, so we'll see what the Lions can do. Prosser playing at Perspectives in a battle of the bottom of the conference right now. Those are the 2 teams that came up in the from the White Conference last year, and that one really could be important to seeing who gets demoted at the end of the year. So kind of a big one there at Perspectives on their home campus. That's actually 7 miles away from the school. And then the final game, Westinghouse at Orr at 5 p.m. Orr struggled. Westinghouse has been impressive. They did not lose by that many to Whitney Young. They are second in the conference right now, 3-1, 6-5 overall. They've had kind of a tough non-conference schedule, but it's been impressive stuff so far early on against for the Westinghouse Warriors. We'll see how that shakes out across the rest of this 2022-23 regular season. Your standings entering tonight: Young 2-0, Westinghouse 3-1, Farragut 2-1, Lane Tech 1-1, Orr 1-1, North Lawndale 1-1. A lot of teams 1-1 here. And then Clark 0-1, Lincoln Park and Prosser both at 1-2, and Perspectives MSA at 0-2. They're still looking for their first win as a member of the Red Conference. Just over 30 seconds to go here in the halftime break. Both the teams in their huddles. We'll see if Lane Tech breaks with their starting 5. Eric Powell on the other side of the court is taking some extra free throws. He missed 2 at the end of the second quarter. He had made his first 2, and then he missed his second 2, and the senior gained some extra practice here. He's a third-year varsity guy, has had 8 points to lead. They're tied for the lead for Farragut in scoring here early on, and taking up as many shots as possible here in the halftime break. It will be the starters, so Scantlebury, Aquino, Williams, Solibo, and Jack Soar for the champions, as well as James, Kelly, Justin Pickens, Powell, and Calmise for the Admirals. It'll be Farragut basketball going from left to right. They're starting both the second and the third quarter because of jump balls. There's been at least 2 in the game so far. Lane Tech ended up losing the tip, but they got possession, so the possession arrow went to Farragut early on as they inbound it to Powell, and we're underway here in the second half. A 1-point lead for Farragut as we enter the second 16 minutes. Turnaround jumper missed by Powell. That one just rims out, and Solibo will start his chase down the court, threw it right into the hands, though, of Powell. Another turnover here for the junior for the champions. 20 seconds in here, quarter number 3 of action. Not a super big crowd on hand here for tonight's game for some Wednesday night action. Lane will not have a Friday night game, but next Tuesday's home game, their next home game, is expected to be one of the more crowded ones of the year as Pickens gets fouled down low and will head to the line. That is Lane Tech taking on St. Ignatius in what should be a fun one. Ignatius currently ranked number 9 in the area. They're the second highest ranked opponent that Lane Tech has on the schedule behind Whitney Young. So that one will be a tough one for the champions come next Tuesday, as first shot missed here by Pickens. So the lead will stick at 1 here. For those of you who left quickly at halftime and coming back to the stream now, first half was really a game of runs. We had 2 big runs from both of these squads, a 6-0 and a 10-0 run from the Farragut, and sandwiched between those 2 runs were 7 and 8-0 runs respectively for the champions. So then one team in control for a couple of minutes, then back and forth play, then another team in control as Aquino gets stuck up with a press here. Jack Soar kind of stayed down low and gets the easy 2 there. That's one way to do it, as Lane Tech will take back the lead here early in the second half. 6:56 to go in quarter number 3 of action. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. Jack Soar gets caught with some aggressive defending there. Powell drives to the hoop, and they will send Jalen James to the line. James has been quiet here early on. He's coming off of a 9-point performance against St. Lawrence, but did not get in the scoring column in the first half. It was kind of interesting. He scored 5 of the 13 first quarter points in that St. Lawrence game for the Admirals. So he's been a player who likes to score early. He did not score all in the first half, and that scoring drought will continue here as he misses his first free throw. So Farragut 0 for 3 on free throws in the first 75 seconds of this second half. We'll see if that comes back to bite them as they'll move to 0 for 4. But again, offensive rebound goes into the hands of Solibo, and a pushing foul called here against Eric Powell will give the ball back to the champions. I'm not sure if our camera will pick it up on the scoreboard right now. Every single player on the court for Lane Tech has 1 foul exactly. They've not had any player really in foul trouble. They just had a lot of guys have 1 or 2 fouls here early on. They actually did not put Farragut into the bonus there in the first half as Solibo pulled to the ground. No foul called there. Interesting there from the referees, but they will keep possession. Solibo pulls for 3, misses it. Jack Soar with the rebound. Now Williams fakes a 3, and they will reset it out to Solibo. Solibo was ready for the swing pass there in the corner, did not have anyone. Now Williams gets to work, misses the 2, and Farragut will head back up the court still with a 1-point deficit. Calmise to Kelly. Kelly's been impressive early on, misses the 2 here. Even on those missed shots, you can see he's going to have a very bright future. Just a freshman, started from game 1, I want to say. He's been the starting point guard all year long for Farragut. As you mentioned earlier, he had 19 points against a solid top 20 Curie team in the season opener. And he's going to be a bright spot for this Farragut team these next couple of years as Solibo pulls for his second 3 of the half and knocks it down. Finally getting on the scoreboard here for Shahid Solibo. Puts the lead up to 4. The largest Lane Tech has had tonight is 5, so they are getting close to that. And it is a 5-0 run for the champions to start off this quarter number 3 of play. Farragut's had some chances. They are 0 for 4 from the line here in the third quarter as Calmese breaks that little scoring drought for the Admirals to cut it to a 2-point lead. It's going to be a experienced backcourt. You have Calmese, who will be returning for, I believe, a 4th year on varsity next season for Farragut. And then you have Kelly, who will be a sophomore next year, as Scantlebury gets the putback to move to 13 points on the night. He's just one basket away from extending his 15-plus point streak of 5 straight games with that. This will be game number 6. Leading the team in scoring here, I believe, early on in the season, as this one goes off the hands of Pickens, and Lane Tech will get back possession as Jackson Labcon heads in for Lorenzo Aquino. It's interesting, we've seen less minutes out of Lorenzo Aquino these last couple of weeks. He was on the bench for the entire 4th quarter, I believe, against Lamont. They did not put him into the game, and Labcon's been really expanding his role here these last couple of weeks for the champions. As bounce pass to Salibo, pulls for 3 again. He's got the hot hand, but airballs this one. Luckily, Williams there to catch the rebound. Now it'll be Williams driving the baseline, loses it into the hands of Labcon, and I guess you could call this a 3rd chance now for the champions as Jack Soar draws the foul, blocking foul called against Justin Pickens, his 2nd of the night, team's 2nd of the half, and Lane will keep possession here with 4:12 to go in quarter number 3. Lane Tech looking to build upon a 4-point lead. Shahid Salibo will take it out of the backcourt and playing even more so in a point guard role here early on. Jack Zor open for the 10-footer, can't get the lucky bounce. And Farragut, after the long possession from the champions, will head back up the court still with just 4 points in their deficit. Calmese, you could tell he was looking for the 3 there, had some separation from the defender, but instead decides to back it out. We saw the Admirals hold for a very long possession. They won't do that here. A quick spin around jumper there from James, who's still looking for his first points of the night. Can't get it there. And now Labcon will slow things down for the champions. Jackstar wide open, fakes the 3, takes the baseline. Williams there in the other corner, hits the 3. The 3 ball coming alive here for the champions. We see one from Salibo, now we see one for Williams as Lane Tech takes a 7-point lead, their largest of the night here from Lane Gymnasium. This is a Farragut team, 2-1 on the year in conference play. This would be a big momentum-boosting win for the champions as Kelly responds, showing that the Admirals not out of this one just yet. And in there, your face 3 to cut it back to 4. Lane will break the press with ease. One of the big bright spots here for the champions. It's been a couple of nice presses from Farragut as Williams gets blocked there. Scantlebury, though, there for the putback. And there it is, 15 points on the night for the big man. And Lane Tech will take back their 6-point lead as Dalton Scantlebury continues his streak. What a run for the sophomore here. Been ranked up to number 29 now in his sophomore class in Illinois. So Lebo gets stripped and fouled heading towards the basket. And we'll look to add to this lead, but just such an impressive run here from Scantlebury as of recent. He's going to be a big part of this Lane Tech team this year, next year, even 2 years from now, just a sophomore. Definitely a bright side for this Lane Tech squad as Salibo will head to the line. Salibo's had his fair share of troubles from the free throw line, but was 5 for 5 shooting. Even had a couple of very clutch late free throws in the 4th against Lamont. So he makes the first one to continue that streak. See Daniel Murillo come into the game here alongside number 4, Jamari Pickens here. It's Williams, Labcon, Scantlebury, Jacksor, and Shahid Salibo into the game as Salibo gets the lucky bounce here. And Lane Tech will be the first team to hit 40 points. Rio thinks about the 3, instead gives it right into the corner to Calmese. It was a very interesting decision there by Murillo. If you play youth basketball, kind of the one thing your coach almost always tells you, don't put it in the corner there. They passed right into the corner with Williams guarding. almost turned into a big mistake. Instead, luckily, Calmy smart to throw it off the defender, but Murillo unable to hit the three there, and the Champions will get it back up by 8 here late in quarter number 3. Champions would love a shot here to take control. Salibo almost delivers there, but rattles around the rim and out, and that will keep it at an 8-point game. Kelly working on the other end. Almost hits the floater. That one was trying to decide whether or not to go in, and Jack Soar will call timeout. Logalbo will make that a full timeout. I think they were deciding whether or not Jack Soar had possession there. However, the referee did grant the timeout to head coach Nicholas Logalbo, so it should be Lane Tech possession out of that. A very heads-up play there from Jack Soar. That's what you get out of having so much varsity experience. You know, in plays like that, your team has 4 timeouts left to burn. It's already the third quarter, late in the third quarter. He decides to call the timeout, and head coach Nicholas Logalbo did not look mad about that at all. His team will keep possession in a big possession, you could say. They're up by 8. They can extend it to double digits. That would be the first time tonight either team has a double-digit lead. And we'll see what Lane Tech can do off of this 1-minute timeout here. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Tech. Lane coming off a 60-51 loss to Lamont on Saturday in the first game of the Team Rokes Classic. They'll be in another shootout this weekend when they take on West Aurora, who was formerly a ranked team. They're kind of on the bubble, I believe, now. They've been finding their place as a team together here early on, but they have a very impressive, a couple of impressive players. It's going to be exciting to see that team take on Lane on Saturday up at Morden College. But back to our game here. It will be Lane Tech possession up by 8, 40-32, 1:44 to go in the third quarter. We saw Farragut in the second quarter take a lot of time off the clock with one possession. Lane could choose to do that here, but it's kind of not in the coaching philosophy of Lane Tech to do that. So I think they are going to keep up their fast-paced offense here as they get to Jack Soar. He's wide open for 3, hits it! That one was going around the net. I don't even think you can say it went around the rim. Just took an extra second to fall through the net, but an excellent shot there from Jack Soar. Another shot on the night for him, and the lead now up to 11, the largest it's been tonight for either squad. Just over 70 seconds to go. A turnover here. Shahid Salibo in transition, decides to take it himself, goes up for the 2. A big block there from Pickens. However, Jack Soar is right there for the putback 2. 5 points in about 30 seconds there for Jack Soar, and a technical is going to be called here, I believe, against Farragut. We'll see who it's called against. And I think they may be calling it against Jack Soar. Originally, Farragut was mad. I assumed it was against the Admirals, but no, now the announcer is going to confirm. So a technical foul called against Jack Soar. I think they're just saying he was celebrating too much. I'm not sure what it was after he hit that big 2 for the Champions. And we'll see Kenny Rosario check into the game. I'm not sure if in high school have to come out after a technical. He shouldn't be ejected from the game, but they are going to talk things over here quickly. So we'll see if that can change the swing of things here. The 2 still will count, so it will be a 13-point lead for the Champions, 45-32, under a minute to play. Referees are still talking things over. You usually do not see calls overturned, so I'm guessing that's not what they are discussing here. Kind of a impromptu timeout for both of these squads, as they're going to talk things over with Logalbo once again, and I assume the call is going to stand. So should be 2 free throws and possession here from Farragut, so they can cut it back to a 11-point game and get possession if everything goes as planned. Jack Soar checks out of the game for Kenny Rosario. So Rosario makes his first appearance in a while in this game for the Champions. And Latrell Kelly, the sophomore, will have a couple of free shots No one around him on the far side of the court here. 55.5 seconds to go, and he drains the first shot. Kind of had a quiet first half of scoring. He's coming off of a 14-point performance to lead his team against St. Lawrence. As the freshman goes 2 for 2 from the line, and as we mentioned, cuts it to an 11-point deficit. And Farragut will keep possession here. So I think just for momentum's sake, it would be very good for Lane Tech to get a stop here. As referee's going to blow his whistle again. And they're going to talk to the coaches. I don't think we're seeing another technical talked about here, but the referee is going to come over to have a quick word with Lane Tech head coach Nicholas Legalbo. So slow couple of minutes here from Lane Gymnasium as the referees try to sort everything out. Two of the referees are going to have a word with each other here. And now they're going to come back over to talk to Legalbo. This is the time where we wish we had a courtside booth here for broadcast so we could hear a little bit more about what they are discussing. As we continually hold up in play here. And they're going to, it looks like they may have just ejected Jack Soar. So it looks like a player ejection. I gotta say, that is the first time I have ever seen that here at Lane Gymnasium in a high school game. We'll see if Lane Tech takes some momentum out of this as Jack Soar heads back to the locker room. Kelly pulls for 3, misses it. Scantlebury fighting for the rebound. Pickens comes up with it, and Salibo will pull down the rebound. 37 seconds left. Williams gives it to Rosario, thinks about the 3. Now Labcon, nice pump fake there. They'll reset the offense, under 30 seconds to play. Salibo pulls for 3, can't get to go. And Pickens will come down with the rebound. Still an 11-point lead for the champions. Salibo almost stripped Calmise there from behind. They will get to reset their offense a little bit, but Kelly with a second straight missed shot and a foul called there on the ground as Parker Williams a little too aggressive there, went over the back of one of the Farragut players. That's his second foul. 5 fouls now on the half for the champions with 11 seconds left. So Farragut, if this keeps up, will have free throws near the end of the second half as a monster rejection from Dalton Scantlebury. His second block of the game. 5 seconds. Scantlebury up the middle, and a charge called here. Lane Tech getting none of the calls here in the second half. And with 1.8 seconds left, that would have been a highlight reel play had he converted the and one. Instead, it will be possession going back to the Admirals. We've yet to see a shot come off in time at the end of the quarter. At least a real shot, as they're going to wipe up some sweat on the floor here. Farragut's going to have just 1.8 seconds left. They have 4 timeouts left, but are not going to decide to use one here. If they hit one, they can cut this back to a single-digit lead. It was 1-point leads for each team at the end of the first and second quarters. Lane has broken this one open in the third. Calmise gets a shot off. This one looked good off the hands. However, sails a little bit left, and that will bring us to the end of 3 quarters of play. So an interesting 8 minutes of basketball there. Lane Tech takes control of the game. Then we see starter Jack Soar, captain Jack Soar, ejected from the game for a reason we still do not know. But that will bring us to the end of 3 quarters. Lane Tech with a 45-34 lead over Farragut. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Boys Basketball here on Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. To the fourth quarter we head here at Lane Gymnasium, a 45-34 lead over the champions. They have a solid 11-point lead. We'll see if they can finish it here in the last 8 minutes, looking to get conference win number 2 on this season. That would bring them to 2-1, move them back towards the front of the, back towards the front of the conference, and just would be a very good momentum booster for the champions. And if you're looking ahead, it would be very good for their odds to stay in the red conference this year. I was doing the math early in the game. They're probably going to need 3, possibly 4 wins. 5 would be ideal to stay up in the red this year, and getting this second win against Farragut would be big here for Lane Tech, as Jackson Labcon will bring things up the court as Lane Tech opens up the fourth quarter with possession. They give it out to Williams, drives right-hand side, an excellent move to the basket, can't finish. Scantlebury, though, is there for the rebound, and he draws the foul. So Scantlebury, the game's leading scorer here, will head to the line to shoot a quick 2. They're not keeping point of tracks here, and we lost track a couple of minutes ago on Scantlebury's total. However, he did have, I want to say, 11 in the first half, and he had at least 4 or 6 there in the third quarter. So he is getting close to that 20-point mark. So he hits another free throw here. He's been pretty consistent, especially for a player of his height. Usually you see the 5s not be great free throw shooters, but Scantlebury has been at least a decent shooter from the free throw line this year, as he goes 1 for 2 from the line, and Kelly will bring the ball up the court. Farragut's going to need some quick scoring, not just to get back in this game numbers-wise, but to get back in it momentum-wise, and that could do it. Jalen James silences the crowd. His first hit of the night comes from beyond the arc, and cuts it back to a single-digit lead for the champions. Labcon gets stuck up with his dribble, but is able to find Williams. Williams has been all over the court with possession here. Salibo thinks about the 3, gets stripped of the basketball early on, and the long pass to Calmise. An excellent job by the junior there to keep possession, and he'll throw it off of Williams. So that is the second time here tonight Calmise has gotten stuck in the corner and has thrown it off of Williams. Luckily, Williams has looked okay on both of those, but Calmise has had some hard throws of the basketball here tonight. As Kenny Rosario will check out of the game, Lorenzo Aquino checks in here for the champions. So it'll be Scantlebury, Aquino, Labcon, Williams, and Salibo for the starters, plus Labcon instead of Jack Soar here for Lane Tech. And a timeout called by Calmise here with 7:02 to go in quarter number 4. So that will be 3 timeouts now left for both of these squads. That was a big 3 there from James. Kind of the momentum was all going in Lane's momentum, even with the ejection. I think that kind of put an extra pep in Lane Tech's step even. But the Farragut finally able to break open a little bit of a lead here, and now we'll see if Farragut's able to knock into that lead here early in quarter number 4, as Farragut's going to break out of their timeout early. It's interesting. They've called 2 timeouts here today. Both of the times they've left the huddle sooner than Lane Tech has, as interim coach Emmanuel Little has a couple of last few minutes with his players on the court. Little is interim coach tonight for William Nelson, longtime coach of this Farragut squad. Nelson's coached some very, very impressive talent. Obviously, if you follow Chicago Public League hoops, you know Kevin Garnett, Ronnie Fields. A lot of very impressive NBA players have gone to Farragut, as Pickens heads to the hoop, gets the 2, and just like that, it's a 7-point game. So 3 possessions now. The lead is down to for the champions. And they would love a basket to kind of switch up the momentum. As I mentioned, first half was a game of runs. Third quarter was almost exclusively one big run for the champions. But now it looks like Farragut with a little bit of a run to start off quarter number 4. They're on a 5-0 run to cut this to a 7-point game. They get it out. Calmise with the quick turnaround 3. Can't get it to go, and that goes off of the hands of James. I think if that continued to go out of bounds without James touching it, it might have last gone off of a Lane Tech defender. but the junior decides to hit the ball, and the champions will get it back up by 7 here. 6:15 to go in quarter number 4. Lorenzo Aquino sees an opening to the basket, picks up his dribble, and a travel called there. It probably had one more dribble and would have completed the layup. However, picked it up a little too early, and Farragut will get it back. It's interesting. Lane Tech had some success with the 3 ball there in quarter number 3, but it seems like their strategy here to start off the 4th quarter has been more so to work it inside, try to get those layups, quick takes to the basket as down low. Easy 2 there for Pickens on the reverse layup. Farragut gets above the 40-point mark, and it's a 5-point game. Would not be surprised to see Lane Tech to call a timeout here soon, especially if they do not score on this possession. 5.5 to play. Williams saw an opening there, but Kelly boxed it up perfectly. Labcon now on the far side. Had some distance, decides not to take the 3. Labcon receives the behind-the-back pass, and they'll say he stepped on the end line, and that's just as we predicted, a timeout called by head coach Nicholas Legabo for this Lane Tech squad. 5:20 to go, and Lane Tech's going to be with just 2 timeouts left, 3 for Farragut. So at this point of the game, it's where free throws, bonus, all that stuff starts to come into play. So we'll give you a quick scoreboard recap here. 46-41 here, Lane Tech with the lead. 5:20 to go in the 4th quarter. That was the both of these teams are close to playing each other in the bonus. Farragut has 1 foul to give. They have 5 on the half. Lane Tech has no fouls to give. They have 6 fouls here tonight. So next time they foul, if they foul in these final 5.5 minutes or so, will send Farragut to the line. We've seen mixed results here from the Admirals. They are, I think, 0 for 4 this half. They at least started off the half 0 for 4 from the free throw line. So they've had some struggles from the line here today, but that's easy ways to, 2 for 6 on this half because of the technical free throws. But that's easy ways for Farragut to get back into this game. And then 2 timeouts left for the champions, 3 for Farragut here in these final 5+ minutes of play, as Kelly, it looks like, is going to inbound it. Interesting. He's been running the point here mostly, but they're going to have Calmise bring it up instead. Obviously, Calmise, the slightly more experienced player, 3rd-year varsity guy as a junior. Kelly, one could argue, has the larger upside, starting as just a freshman, as they left Calmise wide open there. Lane Tech gets lucky, but the putback no good from James. No foul called. Scantlebury comes up with the rebound, and a quick touch to Labcon means they're going to be able to send it to Aquino. Williams underneath the basket, and they will push it out. So the lead is narrow, but Lane Tech still not in a rush, as they do have the lead. They can take 30+ seconds off a possession here and get this game going a little bit. Momentum's been all in favor of Farragut. Lane has not scored in the first 3.5 minutes. As this one thrown away, Eric Powell to the hoop, and a foul called. Lorenzo Aquino stepped away at the very end from that, and so that he would not fall. Was hoping for just a layup at worst, but he gets the worst possible scenario. Did not have a real chance at a block there because he backed out of it, and they're going to call a foul against him. His 2nd, the team's 7th. That does put Farragut into the bonus. It won't matter, though, as this was a shooting foul, so it'll be a 1 free throw to try to complete the 3-point play. Just like that, it's a 1-possession game, as Powell, 2 for 4 from the line here today. Tries to make it 3 for 5, and he can't. Misses off the front of the rim after starting off the day 2 for 2. He has missed 3 straight free throws, and a jump ball is going to be called. Possession arrow points towards Farragut, and they are 1 shot this possession away from tying it. So Lane Tech has as much as an 11-point lead. It looked like they were in a good position in this one, but Farragut's done a good job fighting back in this one, and they are going to call, let's see what the call is. Did not see the referee count it. And I think they're just going to redo the inbound there. They're wiping up the sweat. I think they just might have called the whistles not for a foul, but for a redo. Still waiting for a call from the referees on what is happening. We've seen more referee conferences than usual. It's been a different variety. I'm not even sure who the head referee here is tonight, because they've all kind of had taken turns as talking to the coaches and talking to each other, but been a big influence on this game from some calls from the referees as Calmise inbounds it quickly to Kelly. Still a 3-point lead for Lane Tech, under 4.5 to play as we near the halfway point of this fourth quarter. We've seen this is a Farragut team that can hold the ball for long periods at a time. Looks like they're beginning to do that here as Kelly pulls for three, hits it. Lorenzo Aquino had some late contact there. A foul is not called, but a 11-point lead has trimmed down to 0, 46-46, under 4 to play. Aquino waiting underneath the basket, hits the easy two to put Lane Tech back in the lead here. But we are in for a fun finish here from Lane Gymnasium, 48-46. The champions with the lead here. Apologies, folks. Just trying to reset our scoreboard here quickly. Calmise swings it far side to Kelly. We just saw Kelly hit that very big three-point shot. Both these teams hoping to get to 50 points as soon as possible. Powell with the pass down low, and a double dribble called. And a foul finally, a referee call finally benefits Lane Tech here. They were on the receiving end of a lot of tough calls here in the third and fourth quarter. A lucky break here gives the champions back possession. If they are able to find a way to score a field goal here, they will have a two-possession game. A full court press. Williams breaks it by himself. Aquino's wide open, decides not to take the three. They will take a little more time off the clock instead. 3 minutes and counting to play. Down low, Scantlebury gets blocked. Big block there by Jalen James, who has come alive in the fourth quarter. Spin move from Calmise. Works his way down low, hits the two. We're back tied up at 48. As we mentioned, 3 timeouts left for Farragut, 2 for Lane Tech. The Admirals all are in the bonus. Farragut still with a foul to give should that come into play. Scantlebury in the corner. Aquino has hit 1-3. Can't hit a second. Wide open in transition is Kelly. Solibo with a great effort, but an even better effort from Powell, who hits the two. Under 2.5 to play now. Farragut hits that 50-point mark, and it's a 2-point lead for the Admirals. Williams loses the basketball. A foul, it looks like, is called here, and this should stay with the champions. Farragut has battled back, trailed by as much as 11 in this half. They have a 2-point lead now with 138 seconds left in this one. A fun conclusion to this Red Northwest Conference matchup. Labcon gave it to Solibo, and that's actually going to be foul number 7. So we said Farragut had that foul to give. They gave it a second ago, and now a foul against Solibo, who will head to the line. He is 2 for 2. Not a super big scoring night for him, but he can hit the shots and give this team the points when they matter most. Should he hit both of these here? It is a 1-and-1. Lane's going to put just one person in the paint. Missed it. Scantlebury grabs the rebound. Jump ball should be called, and possession arrow goes to the champions. And Lane was at a little bit of a disadvantage here as Lane calls their 4th timeout. They're just going to have one left with 2:07 to go in this quarter number 4. But as we were saying, Lane was at a little bit of a disadvantage there. They had some confidence in Solibo making the shot. As a result, they only put Scantlebury in the paint. They got lucky it bounced into his hands, but they had 3 other guys near the sideline altogether talking to head coach Nicholas Legalo. Had that tipped to the right side of the rim, Farragut would be off and running, and they would likely have a 2-possession game for the first time, a 2-possession lead for the first time this half. The arrow was pointing towards Lane Tech, so the champions will keep the basketball. underneath their scoring basket, looking to cut into this one possession game. 2:07 to go in the contest. Last year when these two teams played, it was a 5-point game, 57-52. However, when these two teams played back in 2018, it was a 60-58 game. Very close there. Farragut pulled out the victory, but there has been some close games in recent history between these two squads, and looks like we're headed towards that here tonight. Scantlebury gets the inbound out to Labcon. Thought about the three, instead will bring things out here as the clock ticks to 2 minutes now to go. They hand it off to Salibo. Tight defense from Calmese. Nice spin move from Salibo. Dribbled off his foot. Scantlebury gets it on his knees, though. And Lane will have another chance at getting a clean shot off here. They've held it for over 20 seconds here. Some valuable ticks of the clock coming off here late in the fourth quarter. Williams, long pass to Labcon. Thought about the three and won't get it. So Lane's going to continue to take time off the clock. Scantlebury down low, hits the easy two. A nice shot there from Dalton Scantlebury to tie the game at 50 apiece, 80 seconds left. Kelly was waiting to pick up this dribble. I don't think he realized that was a made shot, so the clock did not stop. It's a tie game. Lane is not able to foul as they have 7 fouls, and the way Farragut has played this game, they very well could be holding for a final shot. 60 seconds now. Aquino on Calmese with the basketball. This could be either a made shot by Farragut to win the game. This would be the second buzzer beater defeat in conference play for the champions, or we could be heading to overtime. 40 seconds left. Lane Tech, most of all, just does not want to foul. Calmese takes to the basket. They push it out. Powell to the hoop. No foul called, and a charge is called after a delayed call from the referee. Eric Powell gets called for his third foul of the night. It is team foul number 8. It was on defense, so Lane Tech will not get free throws. However, they will get possession back. 34.5 seconds left. Lane Tech does have a timeout to give, but very interesting there. Farragut took a lot of time off the clock. Looked like they were going to hold for a final shot. They put Calmese into motion. It was a very well drawn up play. They had Powell at the free throw line. That's the way to draw fouls. If you have two guys collapse for trying for the layup attempt. Does not pay off, though, and the champions will get it back, trying to pull off a last-minute miracle here. Williams being guarded by Powell. 23 seconds now. Lane's practice shots like these, plays like these in practice. Now they do it in a real game situation. Salibo gets stripped of it, losing it on the ground. Scantlebury comes up with it, and a timeout called by Lane Tech. Lane will call their final timeout. Since it was Lane who called it, it should be Lane possess. Oh, wait a second here. They're going to say it's Farragut basketball. So one referee granted it to the champions. Another referee said it was a timeout by Farragut, and they decide to give it to Farragut. So a very interesting last 80 seconds here from Lane Gymnasium. The Admirals had a chance to win it. They do not draw a foul on a cut to the basket, and because of that, Lane Tech had about 30 seconds there for a final shot. Salibo with a bad dribble, some tight defense from Farragut, gives the basketball back to the Admirals, and a late split-second decision gets the timeout granted to Farragut instead of Lane Tech. And the Admirals will have it on their scoring side of the court with 10.2 seconds left in quarter number 4. This is just about how you would like to draw it up if you are a Chicago Public League basketball fan. A very fun matchup here. Lane Tech looking to get to 6-4 on the season and get conference win number 2. Farragut looking to get back to 500 and back to 4-4 overall and 3-1 in conference play. It'll be Calmese inbounding it for the Admirals near midcourt. Labcon, Salibo, Aquino, Scantlebury, Williams are your 5 for Lane Tech with the chance to defend a shot here. We'll see if they can even get an inbound. They do get it. And now back to Calmise. Labcon playing light defense. Pulls for 3, an NBA range 3 here off the hands, and this will go into the backcourt. And one final shot thrown up off the backboard. Got awfully close there. And we are headed to overtime here at Lane Gymnasium. 50-50 is your score. I don't even know if I have to say this, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a second with overtime action from Lane Gymnasium. Lane Tech and Farragut all tied up at 50. In a game that started about half an hour late, it will play even later into the night here in Roscoe Village. 4 minutes of overtime on the clock, 50 apiece on the scoreboard. A couple of late chances from both of these teams squandered. No one able to score in the last minute plus of play, and we will head into overtime here between the Farragut Admirals and the Lane Tech champions. It'll be Kelly, Calmise, James, Powell, and Pickens, your 5 on the court for the Admirals. So they roll with their starting 5 here to start off quarter number 5, the first overtime here. Scantlebury, Aquino, Labcon, Williams, and Shahid Salibo will be your 5 for the champions. And we will have a tip-off here, so Scantlebury misses it, his second lost tip-off of the day. We haven't seen him lose a lot this whole year, but some very impressive jumps here from Pickens as the clock starts to tip under 4 minutes. And hopefully this is not what we see out of Farragut, but they looks like appearing to try to take time off the clock to start off this this overtime period. I was following along as the St. Patrick's Marian Catholic game, and I think it went 2 overtimes without any scoring, as 3 on its way from James rattles around the rim and out, but there for the putback is Calmise. But as we were saying, a lot of teams try to hold, not get a lot of shots, just keep possession in these overtime periods. However, Lane Tech now with the early deficit is going to be forced to try to score here with 3 minutes to play in the first overtime. Labcon gets stuck up by Kelly, down low to Scantlebury, the leading scorer. Williams for the lead, can't get to go, and Lane had backed off all 4 of their other guys. Interesting, no one was really in there for the rebound. And Kelly now will push the pace. A bucket here would be lethal for Farragut, would give them a 2-possession game here as a pushing foul called against Shahid Salibo, and he bounced the basketball very hard on the court. We have seen referees no tolerance for that here tonight. A technical called against Shahid Salibo, and Kelly will take technical shots for the second time here tonight to try to give the Admirals a 4-point lead. They will get possession after that. I think they were deciding whether for it to be Calmise or Kelly to take the free throws. They will end up giving it to the freshman with 2:38 to go here. First shot is made, so puts the lead up to 3. Still 1 possession. However, if he hits this second one, it will be a multi-possession game. And as we mentioned, due to technical rules, Farragut will keep possession as second free throw good. And here comes possession for the Admirals. It's not going to be possession. Instead, it's going to be 1-1. And once again, the referees are going to talk things over I think it's going to be Calmise shooting another free throw. If it is a 1-and-1, I imagine Lane Tech is able to rebound off of this, unless it is 2 free throws, then a 1-and-1, and then possession. So Farragut can move this to as much as a 6-point lead and then get possession. As first shot is made. And this game slowly slipping out of the grasp of Lane Tech's hands. They led by as much as 11 in the second half. Farragut fights back, and with this second free throw will make it a 6-point lead with 2:38 to go in the first overtime. Lane Tech desperately needs a stop here. So they're going to put it back to Kelly. Salibo almost had the steal there, had to jump to avoid a foul. He's playing very aggressive defense. Lane does not want a foul here, and a timeout called by interim head coach Emmanuel Little here. 2:28 to go. Lane Tech going with some aggressive defense. They have 9 fouls now in the second half plus overtime. The foul count did not stop as we head into overtime, so because of that, the next foul gives Farragut 2 free throws. It gives them, it does not matter. It's not a 1-and-1. They do not have the chance to miss the first and not get the second. So Lane Tech really wants to avoid that now. It will be Farragut possession out of the timeout. So I believe each team got 2 timeouts added to their total for or maybe it was 1 or 2 added to their total to start off the overtime. So Farragut had 1 more than Lane Tech to start. They just used their 3rd timeout. So they have 2 timeouts left, as does Lane Tech. Lane is in the bonus with 8 fouls from Farragut. The Admirals are in the bonus with 9 fouls from Lane Tech. And possession arrow, if it comes down to that, will point towards Lane Tech here with 2:28 to go, as Calmise will inbound it from the near side here, bottom of your screen. Haven't seen any substitutions into the game yet for either one of these squads. Farragut only has had 3 available substitutes the entire night. Some nice trap defense off Salibo's leg, and he saves it to Labcon, and just like that, Lane Tech has possession. Labcon to the basket, does not get fouled, and rushed the shot a little bit there, as the Admirals will get back possession with 2:10 to go. Lane Tech pressing, Salibo hits this one away. Labcon will get it. Williams wide open underneath the basket, hits the 2. It's a 4-point game. Lane Tech getting very, very close to fouling there. However, they luck out, do not get the foul called, and now they're going to go to a full court press. They almost lose it. Lane Tech want a jump ball there, and they're going to call a double dribble instead, so an even better outcome for the champions, who will not have to use up their possession arrow there, and will get possession back, trailing by 4 here. 1:49 to go in the first overtime. Jackson Labcon set to inbound it. Still no substitutes for either of these teams. So it looks like the course of this first overtime may be played out with these same 5 from each team. And just as we say that, they are going to send a sub into the game. And that is a big substitution. Calmise comes limping off the court, and they have to put Jamari Pickens into the game. So one of the top players for this squad on the bench. Salibo pulls for 3, can't get the bounce, and flying out of nowhere there was Pickens to come in for the rebound. 1:41 to go. So Farragut loses one of their best ball handlers in Calmise. Kelly breaks it before 8 seconds come away, and Lorenzo Aquino punches this one out of bounds. 91 seconds on the clock here. Still a 2-possession game unless Lane able to hit a 3 and get fouled here, but most likely Lane's going to need to make 2 shots as Farragut starts to waste some clock, and Salibo will get called for the foul. Got a little too aggressive with his defense there. That is team foul number 10, which puts the Admirals into the double bonus. And it will be Eric Powell at the line. Went 2 for 2, his first time to the line here today. Since then, he has missed 3 straight. We'll see if he keeps that going, and he won't. Makes the first one to move it to a 5-point game. The good part now for Lane Tech is they cannot make this more than a 2-possession deficit because it will be 6 points even if he makes this second shot. But they are digging themselves a deeper and deeper hole here with 83 seconds left. They've only scored 2 points this overtime compared to 7, make it 8 for the Farragut Admirals. 58-52, Williams inbounds it to Labcon. Lane does have 2 timeouts to use here. They get in the corner to Aquino, out to Williams. Dead center 3, can't get to go. Scantlebury can't get the rebound. Kelly gets it, and they're going to put 3 guys on the press, and a timeout was called there by Farragut. Interim head coach Emmanuel Little not happy at all with the way his team handled that inbound situation. They looked out, and I think had he not called the timeout, they still would have been able to break the press. Lane Tech did a good job sending 3 guys to block there, but the problem now becomes this is a Farragut team that has been able to take 30 seconds, 45 seconds off the clock, and Lane really is not in a position where they're able to foul here. It's already a 6-point deficit. We've seen Farragut hit a lot of free throws here today. So Lane Tech running out of options. They're going to need some very good inbound defense, some very good full court defense. This is not going to move the ball up to midcourt. So it will be the length of the court to go for Farragut. 69 seconds on the clock here. 6-point lead for the Admirals over the champions, who are Farragut looking to avenge a 5-point home loss. That game was at Farragut on January 18th of this year. So 11 months later, once again, a close game late. This time, though, in the favor of Farragut. We'll see if that result holds. And Farragut will win 3 of the last 4 here against Lane Tech. Trying to find someone to inbound it to off the hands of Scantlebury. Clock will not start, and possession will stay with the Admirals. So they have Scantlebury guarding the inbound because of his very long wingspan. Salibo, Williams, and Labcon are also here in the backcourt. Long pass, Aquino can't pick it off, but Labcon is there to get it, and Lane Tech will get possession back. Clock starts tipping. Salibo for 3, can't get to go, and the 3-point shooting just very, very rough here for Lane Tech as they throw it off of Scantlebury. Calmise back into the game, we should mention. He limped out a couple of minutes ago. It's his 3rd time tonight he has been able to stay in a possession because he keep possession of the ball because he throws it off of a Lane Tech defender, and a travel should be called here. We'll see what they say, and I think they left possession with Farragut here. No, they're going to give it to Lane Tech. It's very, very hard to tell. The middle of the court is split between Lane Tech and Farragut fans, and we're seeing reactions from both fan sections at the same time, but they will give possession to Lane Tech. 50 seconds left. Lane trails by 6. They need a 3 most likely here. Labcon tries to drive, gets it to Salibo. Moving 3, he can't get to go. Another missed 3-point shot. 40 seconds now on the clock. Lane really cannot afford to foul here, and they are going to throw it off the foot of Scantlebury. Farragut is having some troubles here breaking the full court press of the champions, but they've found ways to stop the 8 seconds clock and just have a chance to reset as Pickens came out of nowhere there to get the inbound. Calmise gets not fouled there. No, they're going to say he went out of bounds there, it looks like. And champions will get basketball back. So Aquino will inbound it. I'm not really sure where the foul was called there. Calmise is going to exit the game there for a second. So it'll be Labcon inbounding it. Lane needs a 3, 28.3 seconds left. Aquino pulls for the quick 3 over the long hands of James. Can't get it to go, and that's, I think, 4 straight missed 3s. To put the dagger on it, Powell gets fouled by Salibo. Another late foul here from Shahid Salibo. And Powell can put the icing on the cake here with some free throws. Going to send Trevor Goodhart into the game momentarily to get Lane as much 3-point power as possible. They're letting him come into the game, which is interesting. And that might have been Salibo just fouled out there. So Shahid Salibo will exit the game, I imagine, with fouling out, and just a very strange game for Lane Tech. You have one of your stars foul out, another starter ejected here, and a 6-point deficit with 18.2 seconds left. This one not looking great on the win probability for the champions, but we'll see if they can pull something off late. First, they're going to need some luck off of missed free throws from Eric Powell, who made 2, missed 3, made 2. So 4 for 7 on the day for the senior guard / forward. And number 3 will head to the line after this timeout from Lane Tech to try to ice this one. Both of these teams have 1 timeout left for the final 18.2 seconds left. Obviously could see that many timeouts called in 18.2 seconds of basketball time, but we've also seen in some parts of this game coaches opt to not take a timeout and instead just let the game run its course. So we'll see what the consensus here is from head coach Nicholas Lagalmo for Lane Tech and interim head coach Emmanuel Little for Farragut. Powell makes his way to the line here. Been a big producer for this squad for 3 years now. Had a double-double as a sophomore and has improved since. A very good game here tonight, and looking to increase this to a 3-possession game late on. Goodhart, Scantlebury, Labcon, Williams, and Aquino, your 5 on the court, as he misses the first one off the front of the rim. So gives Lane Tech a little bit of hope here. Farragut will have another game on Friday as they host Perspectives, as the second shot is up and misses it as well. Scantlebury gets the rebound. They give it to Labcon. Lane needs a quick 3. Labcon gets it to Williams. Williams had the open shot and misses it around the rim and out. 7 seconds left. Lane will foul, and that should just about do it. 6.6 seconds left in this one. If I'm counting correctly, 5 missed threes from the champions here in the last 2 minutes of game time, maybe even less than that. They just have not had their shots fall, as Powell will miss another one. But even should he miss this next one, Lane would have to score 6 points in 6.6 seconds, and pretty hard to do that, as second shot on its way, finally makes one after 4 tries here in overtime. Williams pulls for the 3, 5 seconds, misses, and that should about do it, as they'll give it to Kelly, and Farragut overcomes an 11-point second half deficit to take this one by 7 in overtime. A 9-2 OT run to defeat the champions here. Lane Tech will drop to 5-5 on the season, 1-2 in conference play. They'll be back in action on Saturday as they take on West Aurora at the Coaches United Shootout. We'll have the call for that one. Pregame coverage starting at 1:25, 1:30 p.m. tip-off over from Morton College, but brutal loss here for Lane Tech. They dropped to 1-2 in conference play, and just an impressive performance from Calmise, Powell, and Justin Pickens. Those were the big 3 here. Oh, and Kelly. Those were the big 4 here tonight for the Admirals, as very impressive win for Farragut. They're now up to 3-1 in conference play, and for a team that only won 3 games last season, they now have 4 wins in their first 8 games of the year. So Farragut, a team to watch out for. Lane Tech, still a young team, but they're having some trouble pulling out these victories early in the 2022-2023 season. That's about all the time we have here tonight. A heartbreaking loss for the Lane Tech champions. Your final score from Lane Gymnasium, Farragut Admirals 59, Lane Tech champions 52. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.